Is the sound better?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Perfect.
I have a slideshow, so when I have to share screen,
Yeah.
yeah, I just go to that and I share screen, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
I'll start. We are already live.
Yes, please.
Yes. Namaste and good evening, everyone. Welcome to Soulful Conversations presented by Soulful Journeys and Aranyachar. Today is a very special day in the history of India. Our Prime Minister Shri Narendra Modi ji has laid down the foundation of a much awaited Ram Mandir in Ayodhya. So let us all seek blessings from Shri Prabhu Ramchandra ji and request him to heal our earth, make everyone safe, healthy, happy and successful. So in our last session on Monday, we met with Mr. Amol Khante, who gave us a wonderful insight of being in outdoors within nature and learn some life-saving skills while enjoying at the same time. And we were also glad that we had a surprise from a celebrity chef, Shri Vishnu Mahanorji. And I think that was the cue that we had to think something which is very close to our heart, isn't it? Also, during the 4 months of lockdown, I have observed that one thing that people terribly missed. Uh, can you guess what it is about? In fact, it started a new trend as well. You know, something that we are so fond of and can't literally live without. Yes, it is about our love for food. And trust me, because the restaurants and everything was closed down, each one of us became a home chef and started experimenting with the old and new recipes. I think I rarely know a person who is not a foodie. And why not? Because food is an integral part of our life, of our cultures. Uh, Everything from our moods, be it good, bad, our health issues, or the emotions that we have, even from when you say a new baby is born till the time of our death or even after our death, everything is connected or all our rituals are connected to the food, you know. So it is not just about Indian culture, but we can find similarities all throughout the world. In fact, I would say that we even recognize our states, religions, or countries based on food. You know, it is so. For example, let me tell you, like dhokla of Gujarat or sarso ka saag of Punjab, idli dosa of South India, or Delhi ke parathe, या ईद की बिरयानी हो या गणपति के मोदक हो, and or burgers coming from US or pizzas from Italy and so on. So that is how food has been an essential part of our entire life. And I think food has always been a strong binding force in bringing our world together. And I think that is what even tourism does. It brings our world together. So, and it is actually a very influential aspect on making our travel decisions and contributing to our experiences when we travel. And today we have one such person with us who is an avid traveler but also passionate foodie who has turned his passion into a profession. He also believes that food is not just something that we eat but something we should experience too. Please welcome our chef Siddharth Shintre. Siddharth.
Namaste, everyone.
Hello, Siddharth.
I hope you can hear me clearly and
Yes,
see me clearly. Okay.
Yes.
So, namaste, everyone, and good evening, and a warm welcome to this Soulful Journeys page. It's been a pleasure to be here on this page and share a lot of ideas. Thank you for the introduction, Deepti and Anike.
Yes.
And it's nice. I go through your page a lot, and a lot of new things come to my mind every time.
Thank you.
So when you talk about food, yes, of course, Ganpati Bappa Moria, because it starts with Modak and the Prasad, and that is where food all starts from. And then the first time we go to a puja or wheresoever, the first thing that we ask is what is there for prasad, you know? And then it starts from that, and then things start rolling in.
Yes.
Food as a journey has been flowing through from, of course, from our mothers, and then from the people whom we relate with, or the kind of food stall that we go to, or even from the school canteen that we go to. There are a few things that we can always relate with. or the friend's tiffin or something, and that's how the life or love for food starts from there. It can be as simple as eating a chana or a sing on the roadside, or as lavish as going to a five-star, a different cuisine altogether and experiencing those different cuisines. So when you talk about tourism, of course, and when you talk about food, both are impregnable part of each other. You just can't separate one from each other. You can't say that we are going there just to move around, but we are not going to eat anything, or we are just going there to eat and we are not going to experience anything. Like in the case of a service, a typical hospitality kind of atmosphere, where you have something like moments of truth. The moment when you enter a restaurant or you enter a service, and something comes across to you and it starts hitting you right from the entrance. So food is like that. When it comes to you on a plate, there are a lot of things which it encompasses. The kind of plate it is presented, the kind of cutlery it is accompanied, the kind of atmosphere that you're eating it, and a lot many things. But however, what has happened surprisingly, that people move around a lot, but their food choices don't change, and they always eat the same thing over and over again, over and over again. And at times I find it very surprising, because there is something called as food fatigue as well. You get fatigued with the kind of food that you eat every now and then. And mostly it is, I think, not got to do with what people like or dislike. It is also more to do with experimentation and what is available. So tourism plays a very important role in really, giving that information to the people as to places to see, but however, places to eat and what to eat at that particular location. So that is going to be a major challenge for all of us going ahead, because with we know that I don't want to again open the topic, but COVID has hit us and everything, and there are a lot of things happening, and domestic travel is going to increase immensely, and that is going to make a big impact in our entire lives, because food is going to be a very, very inseparable part of it.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It starts as simple as, so I have Ganpati Bappa is of course there on my right side, but here you can see Lord Jagannath. I'll just adjust my screen. And when you speak about Jagannath and Jagannath Puri, you have Chappan Bhog.
Yes.
And I really want to talk about it, because my first experience when I went to Jagannath Puri was, of course, seeking the blessings of Lord Jagannath. But more so, I was more interested in, peeping through the window to see what is cooking inside. And you're not even allowed to go near to that wall, because it's a different way of cooking. They have these layers, that there are 7 different layers of rice, but the topmost layer cooks the first and the bottommost cooks the last. So these are all stories. But when I saw the food as prasad, the stalls which are laid all along inside the temple, they are phenomenal. It is actually Chappan Bhog. So that is something which the tourists should experience. So here I'm talking about a pilgrimage kind of tourism, for example, that people go seek the blessings of Jagannath and they come out. But no, it does not end there. It actually starts there after you seek the blessings. Because when you come out of the temple, the God has rolled a buffet for you, but you just ignore that and you're in a hurry to either go to the beach or come back to the hotel or something like that. But that you miss that buffet, and that buffet is a phenomenal buffet.
Right.
And no onion, no garlic, pure vegetarian, 56 more than that items cooking every day, and every day there is a new menu. So if you're there in Jagannath Puri for 3 days, other than also enjoying Konark and Bhubaneswar, you enjoy that buffet for 3 days, you get it in small drones, and also food is about that. It's very exciting.
Yes, absolutely. So Siddharth, how did your journey start, in the field of hospitality? Like you have been studying, you have done your hotel management in Aurangabad, and then you went to UK, then you went to Netherlands, and you did all these degrees into hotel management, as well as you are a certified trainer for designing curriculum for various hospitality
programs. Correct.
So how does this whole thing started? So obviously it was a love for your food, but then how did you turn it into your profession?
So I'll tell you, I had two choices. After I finished my 12th, I never went for a typical, science, engineering any kind of thing. That's why I always chose that I wanted to do arts. I was interested in doing IAS. I prepared for it. And then hotel management was always an option, because I was parallelly giving a lot of different entrance tests. But Aurangabad was a fascinating institute because it was their third batch in the year 1995.
Okay.
And yeah, the first batch started in 93 and mine was the third batch. And at that time, they used to have a separate entrance exam. So other than the catering colleges that we know on Dada Catering and Pusa and Delhi and everything, Aurangabad had 5,000 students appearing for the exam, from which they chose 60.
Oh,
And you went through an entrance and you went through a group discussion and an interview and all with the top panel, the top bosses, the MDs at that time, and they personally chose the students. So I was very fortunate to join this institute. Of course, it was right from my childhood. I have always had this fascinate of going to do things out of the box and out of the way. And I think Aurangabad was one such decision which we collectively took. It makes a lot of difference because the kind of institute you choose, it makes a lot of impact in your entire career. And it has got nothing to do with the amount of fees you pay or whether that institute is famous or not famous. It is a kind of education or the attitude that it builds up. And end of the day, attitude is everything. The
right.
way you put it across in terms of your body language or speech or whatsoever, it plays a big role in hospitality. So that was something very fascinating. All throughout my childhood, I always liked to eat. Of course, I was a foodie, so big time. Even if you ask me today, I stay in one part of Mumbai, but I travel about 20 kilometers to one part of Mumbai at 6 in the morning just to probably have breakfast or buy those particular, that cakes or something which I love, and I come back home.
Wow.
So it's about that. And for example, if I go to Delhi, if I'm staying in Gurugram, which is 40 kilometers, I will surely travel all the way to Chandni Chowk to make sure that you eat the chaat there. Because food is about that. It's about perfection and it's about a liking for it. And then imagine with this particular travel that people do, there is tourism attached, right? Because you're going from a new part of Delhi NCR to a totally old part. And on the way, there are so many things attached. So it's all about that. So
Right.
when you spoke about my liking for it, it came from, of course, it came from traveling, it came from wandering, and that is what pushed me into, cooking something fascinating. I
Right.
here again want to tell you two really small stories, and I'm sure a lot of people are aware of that, but are not aware of that as well. And it has got a lot to do with our food history. And when I say history, I'm not talking about mythology because that is the word which I really hate. I always say divine history because it's got a lot of background to it. So
Yes,
if people have
absolutely.
heard in Sanskrit, there is a story of Raja Nal and Damayanti, right? So that is one story when Nal and Damayanti was a couple and Nala was the Raja who was basically cursed. And then he had to, work in somebody's kitchen. And then he came up with a type of technique, which is called the Nala type of technique.
Okay.
And that cooking technique is more to do with fine dining, decorating the plate, very articulate kind of things. So a lot of fascinating things that you do is from the Nala style of cooking. Then of course we all know about Bhim, right? Pavan Putra Bhim from the Pandavas. And then when they had their 12 years of exile and 13th year of Adnyatwas, where they had to, change their outlook and work in the kingdom of Virat, Bhim took the onus of being a chef. So he handled the entire Virat's kitchen, and he was known as Ballabh Bhim. And he came with the kind
Yes.
of quantity cooking technique. So when you see large gatherings of 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, so quantity cooking technique is something which you actually is adapted from the Bhim style of cooking, and the finer cooking technique is adapted from the Nala style of cooking. And
Wow.
imagine these stories, which I keep hearing from my home, from my grandparents, my Aji Azoba. This also pushes you into taking up a career which is really so exciting. So there
Yes.
is a background to that.
Yes, definitely. In fact, as you know, I recently did this course on Indian heritage, and
Right.
in that we had an entire section on food, like how
Hmm.
food was an essential part. And we talked today about Ayurvedic food and things
Correct.
like that, but
Yes.
it had a deeper meaning. Like why, even from Vedas, when you recite those Vedas or listen to them, we have so many things that we can learn about our food culture as well as the medicinal importance of food, what
True.
ingredients were available during those times and how it has
Yes.
evolved. So I think our Indian culture is a mesmerizing thing,
It is.
absolutely.
It is. It is absolutely. Absolutely.
Exactly.
You know, being born in India is a big boon because then food is fascinating. It's all about regional cuisine. and right from the east to west to north to south, every part, every 5-10 kilometers, the culture changes, and that is where the food changes.
Yes, absolutely. But Siddharth, you have traveled across world as well. You have worked
Right.
in so many countries. So, what was your experience about that?
Hmm.
Some Western food we call, or
Very,
in
very
different
interesting.
countries.
So my first abroad trip was to Singapore, and of course I had moved in from a domestic job. I took up a job there, and that is when. So if you see the typical the chef timings, they work at very odd hours. The shift starts at about, let's say, about 9 or 10 in the morning. Then we work till the lunch session is over. So let's say about 3:30, and then again the shift starts at 6. Now Singapore, the restaurants shut down. Restaurants in hotels. So I was working in a five-star, but the restaurants there shut down at 10:30,
Yes.
and that is the time in India when we usually go to a restaurant, to start. And then we say, how come this is the last order? I want to, I want food to be served on my table till 12 in the midnight or
Yes.
something whatsoever.
But
But
Singaporeans eat their dinner at around 6 and 7, and that is like the
yes,
8 is
much.
like too
I
much
would
for
say
them.
Singaporeans are still on the slightly, on the late side. I would say 8:30. But of course, my experience in Europe was very, very. So by 6, people are at the table, the restaurant is full, and by 7:30, the restaurant is empty. And that is when we go, because we feel, oh, this it's going to be shut by 9:30, 10. Let's go to the restaurant, eat early. So yes, the international trips really make a big difference. Singapore was an eye opener, because that I said that shift timings, the timing in between, which I used to get, let's say from a 3:30 or 4 p.m. to 6 p.m., that 1.5 hour I never used to rest. I
Okay.
always used to roam around. So Singapore is good in terms of MRT. They have this mass rapid transit, which is the metro and the bus and all. And this I'm talking about 2005. Okay, I used to roam around Singapore, and I used to visit these several different outlets. So you have, first of all, in terms of hygiene, it's a fascinating place. You can confidently eat on any roadside. You find a lady who's 80 years old making lovely pancakes, which are very nice, clean in 2005. So it's a fascination today that people are talking about, meatless meat or vegetarian meat, if you hear these terms now,
Yeah.
which is made from soya. This is something I saw in 2005 in Singapore, where there was a grand buffet and saying vegetarian chicken and vegetarian pork, and I was surprising. And that is how, because what they teach you in hotel management, I think, is only 10 to 15% of your entire hospitality curriculum whatsoever, or your knowledge. You need to move around on the streets, you need to read books, and that is why you need to gather. Internationally, Singapore again is very different, Europe is very different. So the concept of street food that we have, because it's an Asian concept, you will find a lot of similarities when you go to India or Singapore or something. However, the moment you go to Europe, the street food is totally different,
Yeah.
because the street food there starts at 9:30 or 10 p.m., but that is basically for those people who are really, are high on drinks and
Yeah.
just want to snack on something, and go home. So internationally, that really makes a difference. US is again very, very different. It's all about fast food culture. People have been eating throughout the day. They go for these small, small meals and rarely for a large dinner. But of course, most of these are large plates. Sharing is again a very important thing. Likewise, if you come to Asia, you have the small bowl concept and a lot of varieties of food. So yes, internationally, a lot of difference for the question that you asked.
Wow.
True.
Exactly. And even I have found that for if you consider just Singapore, then there are so many dishes that have so much influence of, say, connectivity to the South Indian food. So even they use
Yes,
a lot of
yes,
coconut, we use a lot of coconut, and
correct.
the masalas. In fact, the curry powder what they use is so similar to
Yes,
what we have in India. So I
true,
think
true.
food always connects, binds everything together, and
Correct.
it brings cultures together, isn't it?
So talking of Prabhu Shri Ram, when you started the conversation today,
Yes.
I'll tell you that Prabhu Shri Ramchandra has a fascinating connect all across the world. Okay, there is connect in Malaysia, there is connect in Indonesia, there is connect in Thailand as well. The
Right.
10-day, when during these Navratri celebrations, there is a Ram Leela which goes on. Thailand also has these kind of shows. So a lot of people who have visited, Bangkok, or have visited different places, they have these shows where they depict that.
Yes.
You go to the airport, there is a nice depiction of Samudra Manthan. So this
Yeah.
connect has always been there. Like you spoke about Singapore and the kind of curries and all, Malaysia, there is again history to it, because Raja Rajeshwar Chola and his Raja, then again the king, who was basically ruling the entire South Indian. He went all the way up to Malaysia, and if you've heard in Cambodia, there is Angkor Wat, so the largest Vishnu temple in the world. So
Yes.
Angkor, so it spreads across, and that is how the connect is established.
Right.
Let me just give you again a small story, because food is all about stories, and these are very interesting stories, right? So, for example, when we talk about Alexander the Great and all these stories, and of course Alexander came, and there are several controversies, because controversy is always very interesting. And we say Jo Jita Wahi Sikandar, but Porus actually defeated Sikandar, and that is what is not really taught to us because of the elephants that he had. And on the way back, he left his footprints in Baltistan and Northwest and Hindu Kush and all that entire range. So the food there still has that Greek influence. So this I'm talking about Alexander, which is like really, really, long time back. Let's come to the recent history of 300 years back. We talk about the third battle of Panipat. Okay. So when the Marathas fought with Ahmad Shah Abdali. However, when Abdali went back, he took a lot of Maratha prisoners. And on the way, he could not take them all the way to Afghanistan. So a lot of them were dropped in Pakistan. A lot of them were dropped in Balochistan. And if you see there, Baloch has a lot of connect with this Maratha kind of culture, right?
Oh, is
And
it?
this,
Wow.
yes, absolutely. So the kind of, so if they have this big connect, and they have, because it is being there, something which is already in your DNA, it does not die that fast. That thread will always connect you.
Right.
So when you spoke about traveling, and when you spoke about people, moving from one place to another, that connect will always be there. Yeah, Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj, we've all heard of it, and we've all heard of Chhatrapati Sambhaji. So I'm not talking about Chhatrapati Sambhaji Maharaj as Shivaji's son. Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj's elder brother was also called as Sambhaji. That is how his son was named that. Now, if you know that, the cousin brother of Chhatrapati was Vyankoji. So I'm talking about, so we are talking about Rajgarh and Raigad, but I also want to talk about Tanjore or Thanjavur that we call, and it is a place in Tamil Nadu. And the Bhosle still have a seat there. So if you go to Thanjavur today, and if you go to the Bhosle Maharaj Palace there, you will find scripts which are in Marathi, which are there, and the connect is there. Sambar was invented for Sambhaji Maharaj.
Yeah.
Shivaji Maharaj's elder brother, because he wanted to eat amti, and at that time the local ingredients or specific ingredients for amti were not available. And then, typical of a South Indian style, a combination of rasam and amti was made, which is thinner and more, and that is how sambar came into existence. Till that time, people were, of course, eating idlis, but they were eating with podi, malaga podi and ghee and all that. And then when sambar came, it was a big revolution. So we always say sambar is South Indian, but it's all Indian. Let's not distinguish between north, south, east, and west. So every region has its own footprint on what it is, and it's all connected.
Yes. And if you get to see, every state we go, there is something or the other which matches to our cuisine. So it is not like they are eating something out of the blue and we are eating something different. There will be some connection on any particular dish, I would say.
True.
And even for sambar, if you see that every different state of South India will have a different flavor of sambar.
Oh, yes. In fact, not only every different state, but in this state also, like let's talk about Maharashtra, because people will find it simple to understand. You have the Konkan region, you have the Vidarbha region, right? Then you have the Khandesh, you have Marathwada. So in Maharashtra itself, there are these, you have Paschim Maharashtra, right? Sangli, Kolhapur, all these. So each of these regions have their distinct way of cooking, right? Yes. Same is the case with every state in South India. So Karnataka itself has an Udupi sambar, which is a typical Swedish kind of sambar that we all eat in Mumbai and Pune and adjoining areas. Then if you go to Mysore, there is Mysore sambar, which is again different, which has got the Vodiyar Maharaj influence. And then you have the Kurgi sambar, which has got the Kodava influence. And likewise in Tamil Nadu, every state which you have these regional influences. So the sambar in Andhra Pradesh is different from Telangana, is different from Karnataka. Karnataka itself has got 4 different varieties of sambar. But then we all love everything. At the end of the day, there is nothing more pleasurable than piping hot idlis and sambar, idlis dipped in it and you're just gobbling up for breakfast. So that is something phenomenal. So yes, that connect is always there.
And I think the geographical locations and the climatic conditions and whatever raw material is available in that particular region plays a major role in the type of cooking, the
Yes,
ingredients that we use, and I would say the taste and the flavors. So I think the entire whole region has a lot of influence on what
yes,
style we
yes,
eat.
correct. See, when we are saying now in the second post COVID era, we are saying go vocal for local, but this existed not many years back. So
Right.
when the Nawabs of Lucknow migrated all the way down south to Hyderabad, and then they were known as Nizams, they were eating the same food, which was rich in nuts and cream and essences and all that. And then the Nawab started getting skin rashes. Okay. And then Hyderabad was never Hyderabad, it was always Bhagyanagar. If you heard of that story of that Hyderabad is all
Yeah.
Bhagyanagar.
Yes.
So if you go to Golconda and if you see that sound and light show, there is mention
Yeah.
of Bhagyanagar and how that. So the locals of Bhagyanagar told the Nizams, with all this food that you're eating, you're not eating which is something which is very, very regional here. So that is why you're getting those problems with digestion and skin issues and all. And slowly local ingredients started getting meddling with that kind of cuisine. So I just want to name one dish here, which is called Chigur Gosht. Chigor Gosht. So gosht is gosht. We all know it is mutton, right?
Yes.
But
Yes.
chigur is tender leaves of tamarind,
Oh,
chinsa,
okay.
which we call, or yeah,
Yeah.
imli, which we is known. So these imli leaves, that paste was impregnated into this mutton, and the mutton was cooked with that. So it is not too khatta because the Nawabs couldn't take that amount of tamarind because they being from north, they could not. But that chigur provided some amount of khatta and eradicated all those issues which they had their digestion. Same,
Okay.
yeah. Same goes for salan. So salan, if made with biryani, is all very popular. Everybody wants to eat only biryani, day in and day out. So the salan, which is accompanied with biryani, if you eat a salan in the north, it has got more of cashew. The moment it comes down to Hyderabad or Kerala, Mopla also has a salan. So that has tamarind, that has ground nuts and peanuts. And if you go north, then you'll have more of sesame seeds and all. So depending on the weather around you, because Deccan Plateau is more, in terms of temperature, it is hovering between 28 to 40, 41 degrees Celsius. Evenings are pleasure, the beautiful evenings on the Deccan and the Malwa, of course, and that also makes a lot of difference in the food. But of course, Lucknow has very different because on the Gomti River front, it's cold. So when you spoke about geographical area, yes, it did make a lot of difference.
Yeah. And I
Same
think,
is the case even with Maharashtra and Goa. So if
okay.
we say Malwani food and Goan food, and people will say, nahi, ye to same hai. It is not that. So
Right.
Goan food has influence of Gomantak cuisine, which is the Hindu influence, and then they have the Portuguese influence. You know,
Right.
so things like shakuti chicken or sanas or sorpotel or vindaloo or something has the Portuguese influence. The moment you come like ambotik, ananasante and all that, it's all very typical, Gomantak kind of influence. And then when you come to Malwan has a typical Sindhudurga influence because the kokum which is in Goa and the kokum which is in Malwan, though it is both on the Konkan coast, the color is different, the tree is slightly different, so that makes a lot of difference. So yes, region plays a very, very important role in terms of food. And
Yeah.
that is the beauty.
And even the matching, like what ingredient will go with what,
Mm,
also is very important because I
yes,
think it has those medicinal properties that if you eat this and if you add that ingredient, it's good for your health and it
correct,
goes down well. So, for example, Rajasthani eat a lot of ghee. And they include that with the red chili, which is very spicy. So it helps them cool down their body system. So I think
correct,
that
correct.
also has a very important role in.
It does. So I'm sure you're an avid traveler, and these are fascinating things which always come across in a discussion.
Yes,
And it's
yes.
always nice to have discussion on these fronts. So yes, it does make a lot of difference. The combination of ingredients is what is a good chef or a bad chef is known for. You know. So being a chef, I would really like to make a statement. There are two statements. One is that you are only as good as the last dish you have cooked, plain and
Okay.
simple, because this is a profession. It's not about ki aaj acha ban gaya kal acha nahi bana.
Right.
It's like a stage show. I'm sure we all are interested in dramatics. It's not like a shooting. So dramatics is the same performance is repeated every day. Huh? So the same performance which is repeated today on a rainy day is the same that performance is there on a day which is windy outside or when there is winter outside. And it goes same. So consistency in food, and it comes from that. The second most important thing is, of course, the matching of ingredients. The way you combine the ingredients and the way you handle the ingredients also makes a lot of difference. I'll tell you, when I used to ask these young boys who come for a job, to give a food trial. Now we always conduct food trial in
Okay.
order to know कि कोई कितना भी पढ़ा लिखा है, something like that. It is still very important that you should still know practically whether you can cook or you cannot cook, right? So what is a food trial which I would really go for? I would say, boss, dal tadka bana and make plain rice. The temperature at which jeera is, tempered makes a lot of difference in zameen asman ka farak, in the type of taste of dal that you. So someone wants to burn jeera. Burnt jeera has got a different taste, but someone exactly knows that when the oil is hot and when you add jeera splits, it explodes, it crackles. And that is why in a lot of recipes, you say crackle jeera. And a lot of people don't understand. They say crackle is a very fascinating word, just because people don't want to say put jeera, they use crackle jeera. But no, the jeera has to crackle, or the mustard seed has to crackle. So why you always add a mustard seed and jeera only to hot oil or hot ghee? Why you don't put it in water? Because water will not give you the same taste.
Right.
Coming to health, we talk about vitamins, and we know that vitamin, A, vitamin C, and vitamin B are basically water soluble vitamins, and then you have vitamin D, which is which are fat soluble vitamins, of course. So when the fat soluble vitamins are meant to be obtained from fat, so as simple thing as an egg, anda. Egg has two parts. Egg has the yellow part and egg has the white part. Now the white part is good enough in giving albumin to you. So a lot of people have this habit of boiling eggs, throwing the yellow and eating the egg white and saying, I'm eating protein, I'm eating protein. But boss, in order to digest that egg white, there is that yellow part which the God has given you, which you are missing out. And that is got the fat, because the protein and the vitamins which are present in the white will not be digestible until the time you eat that yellow. And because people want to exercise and gain, but these are simple things. If nature has given you something, playing around with it unnecessarily doesn't make any sense.
Right.
I think I'm talking about a lot about things. You're going to get a lot of things which are giving discussions and debates, but it's a good part because food is all about that.
Yes,
Food
yes,
is also
absolutely.
about food is also about giving different textures. So in Ayurveda, when we talk about the kapha, vata, and pitta prakriti, there are certain foods which are foods which should not go together, but then foods which always should go together because they make a lot of impact. Like I have seen in a lot of houses and a lot of old khansamas and maharajas, the maharaj who cook, and a lot of these cooks who make, or even they add a very very little tiny part of salt in a sweet dish, or if they are making a something dish which is very very salty, they'll add tiny part of sugar. Now reason for that is, now chemically if you analyze it, it's basically an organic substance. Salt is salt, pure, sugar is sugar, right? Now, an organic substance always adds its particular taste, but it also changes the food chemistry. It brings out the taste in food. So these are the combinations. If you are
Right.
eating something which is sweet, if you don't have that touch of salt in it, you won't really like it. But people would never understand this till the time somebody would go and buy a salted caramel chocolate from Switzerland, and that is when they would understand. Oh, salted caramel is the thing. But no, it's been existing for a long, long time. It's like
Right.
even when you make modak, you add a pinch of salt in that ukad which you make the outer covering. And of course, when you're doing jaggery and coconut combination, you add a very pinch of salt, because otherwise the taste is not going to be great.
Yeah.
So
So
this
it
always
brings out that
existed. Salted
enhancement.
caramel came much, much later, but this always existed.
Yes, yes. Even when we make gravies with tomatoes, I try to add a bit of sugar to it so that it
Right.
balance
Yes.
out the sourness of.
True. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Correct.
Yes. Uh, and can you share with us some wonderful story about something, one particular cuisine that you liked when you were abroad,
I
or
will. I
any
also want to
international?
share a picture with you, and then I will talk simultaneously
Yes,
about.
yes,
So
please.
allow me to share a picture with you.
Yes, yes.
So, right. And here I have. Okay. So if you can see,
Yeah, we
you
can
see
see.
this picture. Okay.
Yes.
Now let me talk about this picture. So now that you've asked for a story, I think this will make things much more clearer. What
Okay.
you see, in the center, the round with lot of katoris, it is a thali,
Yeah.
right? All have eaten thali. And on the top left hand corner, you see some meat which is on a bamboo skewer. On the bottom left, then you have some curry, which is this pink in color, and it has got some slices. And on the right hand side, bottom right, you see fish. And on again, then you have lemon. If you see the lemon, which is the different lemon, it's not so what we commonly eat, which is the yellow skin, which is actually called lime, and this is what is lemon. And then we
Right.
address everything as lemon, but it's
Yeah.
not. So this the green thing is called lemon, and then the yellow thing is called lime, and lemonade is made from these lemons. So this is an Assamese thali from northeast of
Okay.
India. It's called a khorika, Khorika. Now, what is khorika? So khorika is basically a type of cooking technique. So on the top left, what you see on bamboo skewers is something which is khorika. And if I go to the next picture, this is exactly how khorika is made. Can you see the picture which I've just shared?
Yes.
So
Yes.
if you see, yeah, it's a typical bhatti, and there is charcoal at the bottom of it, and then of course the meats are all grilled there, and it goes into this thali. So this is a typical Assamese meal. Now, what is Assamese meal? If you see, there is rice. So rice is a very important part of everything. On the right hand side, so if I want to describe this as a clock, at 3 o'clock position is the dal. Deepti, are you
Yeah.
getting me? So it's
Yes.
easier to
Yes.
explain that. And on the 9 o'clock position is some cauliflower or something. And then
Yes.
on 5 o'clock position, you have the potato curry or something. So this is a typical Khorika Assamese thali.
Okay.
Okay. Now, when someone goes to Guwahati or someone goes for Northeast, of course, I wouldn't, as a chef, expect someone to, order paneer butter masala and tandoori roti and eat. Or, or eat a pizza because someone likes it. So, and
Right.
it's got nothing, it's got nothing to do with being a vegetarian or non-vegetarian, or it's got nothing to do with being a Jain or other religious issue or something. So, is the sound clear?
Yes. 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 I
Yeah.
think there was
So
the sound.
yeah, so it's got nothing to do with what it is like. It's all about trying food, and you still
Yeah.
get a lot of stuff at a lot of different places, right? So
Absolutely.
I will again go to a different part of now. What you see here is on the right, that you see is basically, it's called chingri mach kochu pata. Okay, now this is Bengali. Okay,
Okay.
in the bowl that you see, on the bowl that you
Right.
see, it's called chingri mach kochupata. Kochupata is a leaf which is similar to the leaf that is available in Maharashtra, aluchi bhaji. Okay,
Right. Yes.
aluchi bhaji or alu vadi or something. And just to translate it in English, colocasia leaves, and again to translate it in Hindi, arbi ke patte. Arbi, so arbi ke patte. So arbi ke patto ke साथ ये prawns बना हुआ है. On the left is something which is called bhappa mach. BHAPPA. So bhappa is nothing but steamed fish. Okay.
Right.
So now, if you don't go to Bengal and if you don't try this, you tell me you're missing so many things in life. Like I described,
Absolutely.
I could not click pictures inside the Jagannath Puri temple, but otherwise, yeah, I would have loved to show you that, chappan bhog ka buffet jo lagta hai, in stalls, and it is cooked in earthen pots, and how. So you're missing a lot of things in life.
Yes.
This particular photograph which you see with this lady, this is from Maharashtra. This is on the Pune Solapur highway. There's a beautiful place, and they make one of the most fascinating rans, the mutton rans
Wow.
there. And you need to call them up in advance and book your ran, because by the time you drive down, it is over. And then, of course, I went to the kitchen. This Mai was very helpful in showing me around the kitchen, and I said, I want to click a picture with you. And she said, yeah, sure. Because then, of course, I made something along with her. I cooked something that day. She allowed me in her kitchen, and we made some nice curry also that day. And this was at the end of the session where we were offered. So it's, it's about that. It's about that.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
food is,
Absolutely.
yeah, food is, it's got a lot of things. there are a lot of interesting things in food. And let me share you again one more picture. So when I spoke about, if you've heard of the, when we started a conversation, we spoke about Raja Nal and we spoke about Bhim, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah,
we said that Raja Nala was all about finesse in cooking, the fine techniques and all in cooking. And Bhim was all about quantity cooking. So I just have one more picture, let me just once again try and share that with you. I just want to show that to you because
yes,
that is
please.
something which will, I will, okay, see. So this, what is it? It is nothing but, it is
Chicken curry.
a chicken shakuti, a Goan
Okay.
chicken curry with kokum. You can see that kokum also on top.
Yes, yes.
Now, if this is presented in a large quantity, in an earthen pot, in a matka, it gives you that ethnic look. But if it is presented in something like this with a pound of rice or something, it reminds you that when you go to Thailand, the Thai curries are also served like that to you.
Yeah.
So
Even
what is
Malaysian
stopping
curries.
even Malaysian curry or something like that? So what is stopping a chef? So what is stopping the local people when you go to for presenting food differently? At the end of the day, it is all about presentation technique. So
Right.
because why I presented that photo with you with that old lady is something which is that was very, very rustic, and this is very, very finesse. The food
Yeah.
that lady cooked, if presented in something in a similar manner, can make a tremendous lot of difference. It can make a
Right.
tremendous lot of difference. And so imagine now this is the kind of food which so now look at this. This is nothing but a tossed water chestnut. Water chestnut is singada, by the way. Singada, which we all eat, the blue
Yeah.
one. So presented in this way does
Uh,
phenomenal stuff.
so
No,
that we
yeah,
are we are not able to see that picture, Singhada
we are
ka.
not able to. Just a moment. Let me just once again. Okay. Can you see this now?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So now this is again a typical Asian. So this is water chestnut, which is singara, which is just being tossed with honey and sesame seeds. Then you have some orange zest on top, and again
Right.
served with rice. So these kind of techniques which create a lot of difference in terms of how food can be presented or what
Right.
really happens to food.
Right.
This I spoke about the Northeast. If you come to if you go to Shimla, a lot of people go to Shimla and they go to several different points, Sunset Point, Alana Point, Palana Point, and all that. And but what they miss eating there is the Himachali Dham,
Okay.
Dham, Dham. So like we heard of Char Dham, we say Char Dham Yatra, Char Dham Yatra, but Himachali Dham is nothing but a Himachali Thali, and it is a
Okay.
pure vegetarian thali. It is, of course, it is without any onion and garlic. Rice is again a very important part of Himachali food. So rice is also a very important part of Kashmiri food. So things which are not grown there because rice has been there in our food since 5,000 years and more than that.
Yes.
We
Yes.
are a rice eating country, and rice was always a predominant thing. Rice is always so. If you say, if you ask someone, Prasad में क्या बना है, तो people will say चावल की खीर बनी है. Or if you go to south, they'll say we have made payasam. You know,
Yeah.
so rice is very, very sacred. So rice is an important part of that Himachali dham. And like you've seen the khorika thali, which I showed you, it's a similar thali, but of course with some beautiful stuff. Then they have that typical leafy vegetable similar to spinach, which is cooked. And those are the kind of fascinating stuff which is there in Himachal.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I would like to share a story because you had studied in Aurangabad. So this time when I
Right.
went to meet my friend in Aurangabad, and
Okay.
I had no clue that Aurangabad had such a mesmerizing, delicious food culture. So I
Yes,
met
it does. Yes.
with a chef there, a local
Okay.
chef. He was a celebrity chef, Mr.
Okay.
Zaka Khan,
Right.
and
Okay.
someone had invited us for a party.
Right.
And when we were talking about a presentation, so he had made the thing called mandi, I guess.
Hmm.
So yeah, so it was that whole lamb which was cooked in its own fat, and
Correct. Correct.
there was this whole system. The process itself was so interesting. Like we actually
Right.
sat there for around 1 or 2 hours seeing how it was done, and he actually had dug a, you know, in the ground a hole which was like around 3 feet, and then wo niche jaake he kept that whole vessel and then on layers and
Okay.
layers. So
Right.
it was really wonderful. And then we took out, and there was this, you know, he opened that entire lid of that
Huh.
ground.
Wow.
And you know, you can imagine the smell of that biryani coming out with all those
Yes.
spices, and you can actually understand that there was so much of difference. Probably he used the same spices, but
Uh-huh.
probably the way each one uses, and you know, wo haath ka kamal rehta hai, what he
Correct.
does.
Correct. Yes. 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 It
Yeah,
does.
and
It does make a lot of difference.
yeah, and then he had made lot of different Mughlai cuisine, I would say, and it was fabulous. And then next day I went around the small streets of Aurangabad, and you know, I
Okay.
had
Okay.
those naan khaliyas and different
Oh,
types of
naan khali is
naan.
amazing. It's beautiful. Yes.
Yeah, and I realized that why Aurangabad is just known for Ajanta and Ellora. It has such a big cuisine culture, and it,
It does. It
I
does.
think
Yes.
that is
Correct.
also something we should, you know, explore. I mean, so that was really fantastic. I think
Aurangabad is
Aniket
beautiful.
is, yeah,
Yeah.
yes, yes, please
Yeah. Yeah. Go
continue.
on. Go on, Aniket. Please. Yes.
Yeah, Aniket has some questions.
Yes, Aniket.
Yes. So Siddharth, it was a lovely conversation listening to you talk about. The question I wanted to ask you is, you're a chef by profession.
Right.
You've been working with food for a long time, but
Correct.
you have this understanding of history. You have a lot of understanding of geography, how the cultures
Right.
have evolved, how it has played an influence with the food. How do you
Correct.
suggest that people integrate this when they start traveling next, post-COVID? How do
Okay.
you see, like you said, you mentioned, like whenever a tourist travels, he is going to have a breakfast, lunch, dinner. There are going to be 3 meals in a day wherever he goes, wherever
Correct.
in the world he might be, he
Right.
or she. So I want to understand from you, how can people, engage with the local cuisine in the most authentic way, like
Right.
the place you showed up on the Pune Solapur highway. I'm sure
Correct.
this is
Yes.
not, there won't be blogs about it, or there won't be a
Yeah.
lot of
Yeah.
information. So how does one
Correct.
seek out those places? And secondly, how does one educate itself about, chasing those perfect dishes from
Okay.
those ethnic locations?
Okay. So I
So,
think it has got a
like,
lot to do with the kind of way tour groups and tours are organized. So without taking any names, you have a lot of these tour companies which take tours to several different, across India, and then you have international locations, and then they, proudly say that we will carry our own cook with us. And at times I always find this question: why would you really want to carry your own cook with you? Is it some kind of puja that you are performing, or there is some opening of some temple that you need to carry your own cook with you, who's going to take a holy dip in the river and then make food for you? You can always, I mean, you are laughing, Aniket, but let me tell you, that you can always carry your cook with you, but please don't make all the meals through him. Or the chef, if you're carrying the chef, because I am also
yeah,
a chef. Tomorrow a travel company can approach me and say, why don't you come along with us, and then let's do some fascinating thing. But at the time, I would be one of someone who would always say that I'm not going to cook all the 3 meals of the day for you.
right, right,
I would rather cook one meal of a day for you, something which the travel company is comfortable with, and the guests traveling along with that company are comfortable with. But at the same time, as a tour operator, or like you guys are from tourism and we all are from tourism and hospitality, it is very, very important that you organize one meal in that local restaurant. Let people
absolutely,
eat, let them benefit from them. A lot of times people don't know what they are. I'll tell you a
right,
very, very small example. I was in Europe, and I was there, of course, for quite some time, but I was fortunate to be there in the month of June and July. Okay.
right,
Now, why I'm saying fortunate in June and July, because it is one of the most divine weather conditions to be if you're
absolutely,
going to Europe. To be there in July in Netherlands or something, or if you're, of course, if you go to March and April, then you can see tulips. But tulips are also
right,
there in northeast India, and then either bhi hai, to aisa kuch ye nahi hai. But of course, in terms of fruits is something which you won't find in India. So
right,
typical fresh blueberries, fresh
right,
raspberries. Now you go to a supermarket and buy 500 rupees, and then you get that. But boss, you see some, a gentleman selling those in small drones that we call small
Right,
containers
right,
on the roadside, and then buying those. So in somewhere around the year 2008, 2007, I spent €3.5 or €4 for a small cup of blueberries,
right,
like this 25 blueberries. But I said, and then there were a lot of people with me who said, "Yeah, ये क्या ऐसा वो fruits लेके खा रहा है? Why don't?" I said, "Boss, you're in Europe. First of all, you're from hospitality. I'm a chef, and if you don't eat those fresh blueberries which are selling right there from the season, what is the point in making a blueberry cake and saying that I make fascinating blueberry cake, and I've made some lovely cottage cheese along with it? It just does not make any sense. You haven't tasted the ingredient. You don't know whether it is sour or whether it is sweet, or how it is supposed to be combined, whether you want to combine blueberry with blue cheese, or you want to combine it with fresh cream cheese, or you want to combine it with a liqueur, or with a beautiful sponge, or you want to put it inside a French crepe or a pancake or something. How will you know? You have to eat that ingredient. The ingredient have to talk to you.
Right. Absolutely.
At times, I go with a very, very different kind of high, and I talk to the cinnamon. I say, "Cinnamon, how are you? I hope everything is." So cinnamon is दालचीनी. मैं दालचीनी को पूछता हूँ कि भाई दालचीनी कैसी है तू? तो दालचीनी बताती है, आज मैं नाराज हूँ. आज मुझे किसी ने तड़के में यूज नहीं किया. For I mean, just being very jovial, but then your ingredients tell you what you should do with it.
Absolutely.
If you see a nutmeg, jaifal, you have jaipatri, which is on top of that nutmeg, right? Now the jaifal or the nutmeg is used in a particular dish, which is a sweet dish. So if you say shrikhand, or if you say puran poli or whatsoever, but you rarely use mace, javitri.
Right.
Mace is always used in savory dishes. Both come from the same fruit. One is overlapping on the top of it. So why it is that the mace is used in savory and the sweet, jaifal is used in sweet? There is a reason for it. So when these tour operators take people around, they should take them to a nutmeg tree. Show the nutmeg tree. Ki, boss, ye nutmeg tree hai. Now let us eat something which is made out of that nutmeg. Where let us, eat that nutmeg. Also has a fruit which looks like a pear, and there is pickle made out of it, right? And we are in the month of Shravan, and on Shravani Somvar we all go to Shiva temple, right? We all go to. So how many of us have dedicatedly eaten a bel ka murabba? The bilva patra is offered to Lord Shiva, but there is also a fruit, which smells phenomenal. Let me tell you, it smells beautiful, and you can make a wonderful murabba out of it. So how many tour operators take you to a local destination and show you these things? Or they take you to a fort and they say that this fort was known for so and so this. Let's go to Tanjore, for example, and we'll go to, why I'm saying Tanjore again. So we all are, very great about Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj. So if there is a tour which is going from Pune and which is going to Tanjore, I would rather not serve paneer butter masala and tandoori roti there. I would also want to go in Tanjore market and experience that combination of Maratha food, which is in a South Indian avatar. So that is something which is very, very important, Aniket, and that is what we all miss on. I think this is a disconnect a big time with tour operators, and that is where we tend to lose out on domestic tourism. Yeah. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, Siddharth, I can hear you perfectly. I think DP has some connection issue. I think I can hear you perfectly.
Yeah. So this is what we miss out on, Aniket.
I completely agree with you. I have had clients where I'm sitting with them in an African bush, and they have requested for Indian food there.
Yeah,
it's a nightmare to go up to the chef and explain him Indian food, saying, tonight we want you to make us some dal chawal or something.
Correct.
So I completely agree, and I think tourism has a big role to play in terms of educating people on how to be more accepting of cultures, how to be more sensitive of food practices, food habits. Like even there are dining rules, right? Especially with Asian countries, there are rules how you put down your fork and plate.
Absolutely, yes.
So I'm sure tourism has a big role to play in how we need to integrate it. I think DP has got disconnected.
Probably, yeah. She should join back.
Yeah.
But tourism has a very big role to play. So just taking a small cue from that, what is stopping our tour operators to invite everyone to their, anyways people go to their office to make the
Absolutely.
payments and they conduct, what is stopping them to invite these people to have a small conference hall and invite all that tour group to their office in advance and show
Right.
them a presentation about the local food or the local culture or things that you would experience, you know?
Right.
Why
Right.
just going to US should always be about, you know, going to California and watching the bridge, or going to New York
Yeah.
and watching the, you know, the towers that you see, or going to, so I'll just share again. So when I'm sharing a content, I want to show you a picture and
Sure. Yeah.
so, you know, this is my picture. Okay, can you see this picture?
No, Siddharth, if you want going full screen, you'll have to again disconnect the screen sharing and use the application you're using to showcase the photo.
Okay.
Yeah.
Can you see this or not yet?
Not yet. I can see the folder. I can see all the images. The particular one that you have highlighted is still decently small in
I
size.
have
It's not full
opened
screen.
that. Okay. Okay. Now, can you see this photograph or no? Not yet.
No, I can again
No.
see the folder. As
You
of
can
now.
see the folder. Okay. Fine. So there is one picture which I wanted to show you. I had gone to the US, and being a chef, of course, there was a lot of food on my table, and it was local food. It was typical Mexican Tex-Mex kind of food. So when we say Tex-Mex, we're talking about Texas, and we're talking about Mexico, right? Now, why can't tour groups go to Mexico and tell them, boss, that there is a historical connect to Mexico? Because
Right.
when you talk about Bali Raja, when we always call our farmers Bali Raja, and out of the Dasha avatars, the Vaman avatar is the fifth avatar, and we always know that Bali Raja went to Patal. So all that, but there is a connect there. So if you go to Machu Picchu, or the Aztec culture or the Mayan culture, you know, so it has got that culture there. You go to there and see that local food, and you'll find similarity. In
Right.
Mexico, people, you know, sit down with folded legs and eat their food.
Right.
And
Exactly.
there are some, you know, there are beautiful stuff. It's called Moy Poblano, and Moy
Okay.
Poblano is a typical chicken dish where chocolate is put in chicken.
Oh wow.
Okay, so now something like this is very, very fascinating. What is stopping you as a tour operator from going to that chef and say, okay, boss, we have vegetarians, but why can't you put chocolate in the curry and make something veg? And the chef will be
Yeah.
delighted to cook that, right? And
Sure.
also keep Moy Poblano and with some Mexican rice. So why would you want to serve him only a jeera pulao and dal tadka there? So
Right.
this is something, you know, coming back to the point which you raised, this is something very, very essential that the tour operators do, and that is a big onus. When we are talking about promoting domestic tourism, it is also about going to the northeast, respecting their culture, respecting their tourism, and eating what is available there. They will welcome you with open arms. You know, they will not look
Right.
at you, "Arey yaar, wo tour operator ka bus aa gaya,"
Exactly.
and just selling you pouches, you know, of thailis of some stuff. It's not like that. Imagine how cross cultural, when a prime minister talks about Vasudeva Kutumbakam, you know, the world is a family. The world is a family because of all these things. It is not that we are just living on a globe and then we are exchanging cultures, we are exchanging food, and that is a very, very important part.
I completely agree with that. And I think moving forward, I think a part of the responsibility lies with the two operators and the organizers themselves to actually go
Yes,
out and explore these cuisines, to know
true,
more about the food. And that is when they can talk about it. If I personally don't know the cuisine of, a particular place that I'm traveling to,
correct,
I
correct.
don't think I can orient my guests. So I
No,
think
you can't absolutely.
the first responsibility obviously has to come with us as tour operators and tour organizers, and then obviously pass it on to our guests and so on.
Right.
Yes.
So again, you know, coming back to a small example like Cambodia, we spoke about Cambodia and we
Yeah.
spoke about Angkor Wat. Now it is the
Right.
largest Vishnu temple. Now it
Right.
is the largest Vishnu temple is what? It is not a monumental palace which is being built, which means that it will surely have some connect to history or culture or the food there. How many people have actually gone to Angkor Wat and experienced the local food which is available? You know,
Right.
or
True.
I still, yeah, I, you know, so how many people have really gone to Rajasthan and experienced that Bejad ki roti, which is there
Huh.
on, you know, there. So I'm not been able to screen share, but I have some photographs on my mobile. Let me just show that to you, because this is something which is, I just can't miss out from showing you. I want to show you a photograph of these ladies making a bhakri kind of roti in a matka, okay, which is based on wood fire. और राजस्थान जाके हम क्या खाते हैं तो पता नहीं है what we eat, but nobody gives us.
I think lal mas, dal bati.
Yeah, we are just limited to that lal mas, and that's it. Now I will show this because I don't know whether you can see this. I'm going to put it. Can you see this picture?
Yeah, I can. So there are two women making.
There are two women.
Yeah.
Now, if you see, there is wood fire right there.
Right.
Okay. Oh, wow. And there is a broken matka there. Right. If you can see, there is a matka which is broken, and in that you see this lady making a roti. Okay. Now that roti is called bejad ki roti. And how that bejad ki roti? So you will say bejad ki roti kya hoti hai? So bejad ki roti ye hoti hai. Okay. So it looks like a bhakri. And you have this raita along with it. You also have this on this right, that spicy red curry, which is basically made with a dumpling of chana dal, and it is also made with some paneer pieces in it. So now this is pure vegetarian. What is stopping the tour operator from taking people to this, or asking their chef to make a bejad ki roti and a typical kind of meal, and the ladies will be fascinated. Imagine 40 people there, and you have this lady in the center making this beautiful bejad ki roti or something. In Maharashtra itself, if you go to Kolhapur, Baramati and all these places, you have something called as mande, M-A-N-D. Have you heard of mande, Anike?
Yes.
So it is basically puran poli only, okay? Now puran poli, but it is puran poli of the size of rumali roti.
Exactly.
20 inches in diameter. And it is rolled on in a particular pattern. There are these videos available of mande on YouTube. And if you see that mande, how beautiful, what an art it is. What is stopping us from eating that mande? Why do we want to eat Chinese bhel? Stopping at the roadside. Or why do we want to eat only boiled corn, stopping at the roadside? What is stopping you from eating a mande or a zunka bhakri? So this is, it's coming back to a discussion about tourism and food. It's all about that. It's all about, vocal for local, Vasudhaiva Kutumbakam, sustainable tourism. We use these terms. Okay, everyone wants to use these terms when they write books or when they write articles in the newspapers or when they want to give a speech or something. But when practically, if you want to get it into practice, nobody really wants to take an effort of doing that.
True. Very true.
Like I operate a resort, Shintrewadi in Alibag, let me tell you. And specifically now, okay, there are always positive reviews and there was always constructive reviews, and we welcome everything, because at the end of the day, customer is God for us and they give their reviews. Okay. But there is one thing which we have dedicatedly done. For the last 30 years that we are operating, we do not have television in our accommodations. Okay.
Right.
No television. Right. Internet, of course, is an important part. Sometimes, yes, we are not offering now, but we will surely offer. But then the food that we serve there, we don't serve typical butter chicken and dal makhani and kind of food there. We don't serve Chinese food, but we serve local cuisine, which is made on wood fire, chula. Because people are already eating this stuff in cities. Why would someone travel 150, 250 kilometers and driving down 350 kilometers there and saying, "Mere ko paneer tikka khana hai"?
Right.
I would go to Amritsar and eat that. Or I would, if I want to eat dal makhani and rajma, I would go there and eat. It is not that it is not available. Everything is available everywhere.
Right.
But it is if you are coming down to that particular location, you might as well. And then we have German guests and we have guests from Switzerland staying with us for one week. And they say, menu is on you. Whatever you want to feed us, feed us.
Right.
They ask us to remove the beds also from our cottages. And then they say, put the mattress down on the floor. We want to experience, how sleep is.
Right.
So that is something which is something about more to do with tourism and, sustainable tourism. And it's all about that.
Yeah.
I hope I have, made myself, I've answered your question.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Another thing that I wanted to ask you specifically with the cultural exchange that tourism brings along, it has also led to this fusion of, dishes and fusion of cuisines.
Right.
What is your take on that? And do you think is it in any way harming the authentic, food of the people there, or is it altering or bringing in change, or they're providing alternatives? I'll give you an example why I wanted to bring this up. So recently, I was in Ladakh last year, and I saw there was broccoli being cultivated there. Imagine a place where there is a dearth of normal vegetables, and there's an
Right.
exotic vegetable which shouldn't be
Yes.
there, being
Right.
cultivated in large numbers. And that's where it, kind of struck me that, this is an effect of tourism bringing in that, there was a demand for broccoli, and that's why it was being pushed into the
Right.
market. So, where do you think that, does the fusion of the culture or dishes in terms of cuisines really help, or there are times when it just, has to be controlled?
Controversial, very controversial question. But of course, being a chef, let me let me answer it in a very, very blunt manner.
Absolutely.
So one is that there is no harm in growing broccoli in Ladakh. So I will give you what happens. You have seen lettuce, which we use in salads. Now there is a variety which is called iceberg lettuce. Now iceberg lettuce is basically used in Caesar salad.
Right.
So we all have tried Caesar salad, that that light green looking lettuce is iceberg lettuce, and then there is a romaine lettuce. Now most of this lettuce which comes to Mumbai comes from these these polyhouses around Pune, Talegaon, that bit.
Right.
Now when they are not able to supply, it comes from Ooty.
Right.
Now when the temperatures rise in April or May, when temperatures go to 40, 42, you still cannot grow this. So people go as far as Lahore Spiti Valley, and the seeds are sown there in February, and then the lettuce comes from that location.
Right.
So it is more to do with growing it naturally in an organic manner. There is absolutely no harm in growing broccoli in Ladakh. However, somebody serving broccoli in Ladakh by neglecting the local food there is a problem.
True.
I would go to Avalokiteshvara temple. So Avalokiteshvara is nothing but, we all know, Lord Krishna with 1,000 hands. So going to that temple, eating that local Tibetan kind of food, eating that lapcha, which is that chai with pounded butter in it, that is something. Eating yak's cheese. So when I went to Nepal, and the poster which you just prepared has got my wearing this chef coat and the Nepali cap,
Right.
Today which you share. And so when I went to Kathmandu has this beautiful cheese made out of yak milk. Now the local Nepal dairy board is making yak's cheese, and it is a beautiful cheese. It is much better in taste with something like that. So when you go to Kathmandu, you go to Pashupatinath temple, and you go to certain things. But people go to Nepal, and what do they shop? They shop for shoes. They shop for these things. Why? Because the people are not being given that kind of thing. So when you spoke about fusion food is good as well as bad, depending on the kind of fusion that you do. Okay. Now let me give you a very, very simple example. Okay. That in terms of fusion food. Now, of course, fusion, I want to say fusion food was a term which was there about 10 years back. And then everything fusion was, people, started doing, for example, makhani gravy with truffle oil. How will truffle oil impart its flavor in a makhani gravy, which is already has that flavor of kasuri methi and cinnamon or something like that? So this is not fusion food. Just for the sake of selling it, you've put truffle oil in it. Right? But okay, something which is there in terms of fusion is, for example, that we get vadi, which is, you have seen mangodi, sange, it is called locally in Marathi. Or if in Punjabi, a lot of Punjabi people we already they vadi chawal or aloo badiyan. So what is stopping you from putting that vadi in a makhani gravy?
Right.
That is also from Amritsar. That is also from Amritsar.
Right.
That is fusion. To me, that is being vocal for local, and that is fusion. To me, fusion is not making a creme caramel or a creme brulee with something which is totally odd. But what is fusion to me? So if somebody is making a golden latte and selling it in Seattle for n number of dollars, And what is stopping from selling a nice ukada? Ukada is nothing but milk with cinnamon and cloves and turmeric, and that can also be made in a beautiful manner and served in the small short glasses. That is fusion. If we just put that with a mint leaf and add some caramel to it or a salted caramel to it, I would say fusion is that. So the description or the paribhasha of fusion is not bad. It is good, but it depends on the way how fusion is. So when I say ingredients speak to me or the ingredients speak to chefs, they should ask those ingredients whether they are willing to marry each other.
Very true. Very
When we say wine and food, we marry wine and food together and then we taste wine, but ask the ingredients and the ingredient will always tell you whether they want to be combined with a particular dish or don't want to be combined with a particular dish. That is fusion.
Absolutely. And I think, Siddharth, you have captured it beautifully, how elements need to come together, and so do people. So we would like to move on to our next segment, which is usually rapid fire questions that we do.
Right. Okay. Rapid fire. Okay.
Yeah. So basically, it's usually one-liners or quick answers that you can give us. So my first question is, your preferred place to travel: forests, mountains, or beaches, or cities for
forest.
that matter?
No. So no cities, mountains and forest. So if it's a forest mountain, the better.
Okay. Perfect. So,
which is every day near a beach. So I think the beach concept has ruled out because you see beach absolutely every day.
True.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. But mountains really fascinate me, and they fascinate me for several things. It's not only the mountains that fascinate me; the forest and the rivers in those mountains fascinate me. I have this big, by heart, I love the Himalayas and going there, and I would really want to walk on foot, cook there walk there, go with tours, and whatever is available, the leaves around, the fruits around, pluck them and cook there and then eat. That is my idea. So I love these kind of places.
Old school foraging. Perfect. Yes. So the next place you would like to travel to, since you have mentioned that you're looking for forest mountain, is there any specific destination that you have in mind?
I would like to actually go to Kailash Manasarovar.
Oh, wow. So do you want to do the
of course
Padayatra?
it's a spiritual journey. Padayatra, yes, if health permits me to, depending on the kind of health that we are in. But I would actually want to go to Kailash Manasarovar, and I would really want to experience the food. I don't know how weather will permit me to do that, but there is a lot of this local Tibetan food which is grown there in that entire race. Now, because there are issues in terms of visa and the Chinese visa and the Tibetan visa and all that, so things may, but if the diplomatic relations permit us, that is what we should really do. I also want to go to Morocco.
Wow.
Which is a combination of East and West, and it's very rich in terms of its food culture.
Yes.
Absolutely.
I have a Moroccan tagine at home, and I keep cooking it every now and then.
No, I have a tagine at home as well. I make tagine, but I really want to experience that street food, that culture there.
Yes, absolutely. It's fabulous. I know. So,
right.
I hope I'm back with a little bit of technical glitches disturbing us. But yes, so my next question is, you being a chef, which is rather your favorite cuisine to cook as a chef?
Favorite cuisine to cook as a chef? I personally like cooking Italian and Indian regional food. Indian regional, of course, being the forte. But as far as eating, I like eating Thai food.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of good, nice, freshly made Thai food.
Okay, so I think that covered my next question. That was your personal.
Right. Yes.
Okay, and so what? Fast food or slow food?
Slow food.
Okay.
Yeah, but of course, fast food. I have done a lot of consulting. So I've been consulting for the last 4 to 5 years. I've done a lot of consulting for fast food chains. Yeah, but then yes, slow food is something which is surely going to catch up. We just need to change the avatar of it into a format which is sellable like fast food.
Right.
So Aniket, coming back to Aniket's question about fusion, I would say this is again another fusion. Slow food in a format which is fast. So people should, at the end of the day, be able to understand that it is what it is.
Right.
Have you guys eaten litti chokha? Have you eaten
Yes,
litti chokha?
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you go to streets of Lucknow, UP, if you go to Banaras and all, and if you don't eat litti chokha, then something which you are missing. So
I think
I made
Aniket
2 trips
is
to.
from Lucknow, so he might know
Oh,
it very.
okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. So on those bylanes of Lucknow, let me tell you, I have had the most fascinating vegetarian meal in Lucknow.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't remember that place. It is in one of those bylanes where Tunde or this Aminabad is only. And on the first floor, there is a dhaba, which has got a
Okay.
big fan right at its entrance. And we were sitting
Shri.
right there. I think Shri or something.
Correct.
And
Shri.
the food is made in
Hello. Hello.
I think Siddharth has a network issue, Dipti.
Yeah,
Right.
because
ghee, and the
yeah,
chef asks you
He's
what to
back.
put in the dal.
Oh, yeah.
Is it
Siddharth,
better now? Yes.
yeah, you just got
yes,
disconnected for a bit. If you can just repeat what you were
I will
telling
just
me about
repeat.
Shri.
So,
Yeah.
yeah. So this place in Lucknow, which has got beautiful vegetarian food. So people go to Lucknow and eat tunde ka kebab and a lot of non-vegetarian food. But I have had the best vegetarian meal in Lucknow. And then you have this dal tadka, which is being made live. When I say live, so when you sit and order for a dal tadka and a fulka comes to your table, and then the guy making dal tadka asks you, "Kya kya dalu isme?" And then he makes it in nice, pure desi ghee. So that is something which is beautiful, you know.
Yeah.
wow. So it is
Yes.
actually raining so heavily in Mumbai, and you are just making us hungry with the dal
Yeah.
tadka.
Yeah.
I miss pav bhaji a lot. I really want to go to a thela, and I would rather travel 20 kilometers, go to Chowpatty and have pav bhaji there.
Right.
I'm
Wow.
missing that in these rains.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think again you have covered my next question. Is it a street food or the royal kitchen? So
So no, I would say both because I really like Royal Kitchen a lot because Royal Kitchens have a lot of background in them. And when Aniket also asked me a question about tourism and how tour operators can make a lot of difference, Royal Cuisine will play a very important role in it.
Sure.
I think, and of course, I would not say yes or no, but there is a lot of research that even organizing tours we haven't done. We haven't really, researched our country well in domestic tourism in terms of what we haven't been to those distant location palaces and experienced, what is there. Coming back to
Right.
Hyderabad, Hyderabad has got these beautiful two sweets known as Asharfi and Badam Ki Jali. Okay.
Okay.
So I'm sure people must have heard of Asharfi and Badam Ki Jali. And Asharfi was a coin, made out of gold or silver, just over
yeah,
inscription hota tha. And but
yes,
Asharfi is also a sweet. And Badam Ki Jali is also a sweet which is baked. It's like Kaju Katli, it's made out of Badam, but it's baked and it comes in the shape of a flower. And that is something which, local cuisine is all about. So then it's coming back to that.
right. I had even heard about a tadka which was given by the gold coins. तो वो
Yes,
पूरा
Asharfi ka
gold का
tadka. So Asharfi
हाँ
ka tadka used to be there, of course.
yes
See, marrying the silver and gold with food is again not new. In the West, of course, is fascinated. So if you go to Germany, you have these Sanskrit schools and all, which are always there, which have been, providing a lot of knowledge in Sanskrit. If you come to Ayurveda, first of all, in Ayurveda, there is nothing called as masala. Okay.
okay
Ayurveda always talks about aushadhi.
yes
And what is
yes
aushadhi? So cinnamon is an aushadhi, clove is an aushadhi, the elaichi is an aushadhi, cardamom is an aushadhi, haldi is an aushadhi, and there was nothing called as masala. And it was combination of this, which was, so we say, oh, if you go to down south, you drink rasam, and rasam has got a combination of tomatoes and dal, tamarind, and aushadhi in the form of pepper and cloves. Now, why pepper is put? Because pepper provides heat. Why red chili is not put? Because red chili, ideally, if you compare red chili and pepper has got more health benefits than red chili,
yes
right?
yes
So it's about that. But then when you spoke about Asharfi ka tadka and giving gold in tadka, in Ayurveda there is also known as Suvarna Bhasma, Abhrak Bhasma. So Abhrak is nothing but mother of pearls. that bhasma is used, swarna bhasma is used. So there is a part of gold in form of bhasma which is used in aushadhi, which is also used in food. So that makes a, let's take a most simple thing and let us not look at it from a healing food. Chavanprash, we all know very well.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, and we also know that Rishi Charak, came up with Chavanprash, and then he said that you eat this every day in the morning, and it's an immunity booster. Correct?
Yes.
Now, what does Chavanprash have? So, if you look at the basic ingredients, it has got amla, which is rich in vitamin C. People substitute sugar with some form of jaggery or jesti mud. Jesti mud is licorice in English, okay, which is good for the throat. And then it has got some amount of pepper. And then a lot of companies started marketing as gold and silver and this, that, and that had got all this bhasma. Now imagine having a Chavanprash ice cream. Yeah, Aniket. So beautiful fusion, nice ice cream or Chavanprash kulfi. Let me not use the word ice cream. A Chavanprash kulfi.
Yeah.
So it is kulfi, which we all love, and we still have that touch of immunity. Coming back, to answer both your questions.
Yes.
I think your rapid fire is becoming a long fire because I've been taking you ask me a question, you expect a gunshot, and I, load the entire carbine out.
No, that's the whole fun about it. In fact, we get more better answers in this rapid fire questions.
Right,
That is what we have experienced. Okay, so your next one book that you would recommend on food.
One book that I would recommend on food, I would surely recommend reading Ruchira by Kamlabai Yogle.
Okay.
And yes, and see, there are so many books on food, Deepti. I really want, would not, it is very difficult for me also to make a choice like this.
Okay.
Right.
To do a recommendation in terms of, because there are so many books, each of these books give you so many things, but for all these readers who are into food, of course, when we studied hotel management, people spoke about Laroux's Gastronomique, and Laroux's Gastronomique was a big fat book, 700 pages, talking about several different things. There are books available on ingredients, and of course, if you go to our Vedas also talk about food.
Right. Absolutely.
Yeah? So I would first of all, suggest, I would surely not recommend, because I would want to suggest all who are watching this program or are live now or who will watch it later on YouTube, that you should always research about the food around you and try understand more and read about it. That is what would really give you, eye-opener things. There are books, I'll tell you, I went to a shop and I bought a book from a Devasthan. We have these Devasthan. So Devasthan, whether you go to a Balaji or whether you go from a Devasthan, I bought a book because the Devasthan was, renovating the library. The book was torn. It is a 25-page book available for 5 rupees as a donation. 5.
Okay.
Now that book talks about use of spices in everyday food. And what does cloves do? What is it supposed to signify? What is the kind of essential oil that it has and all that. So there are so many things. We have you heard of the Sanskrit shlok that we usually, so in my house, when we all sit at a dining table, my children, everyone, we all say that. So I would say, Vadani kavala gheta namaghya Shri Hariche Sahajahavan hote नाम घेता फुकाचे जीवन करी जीवित्वा अन्न हे पूर्ण ब्रह्म उदर भरण नोहे जाणीजे यज्ञ कर्म जय जय रघुवीर समर्थ. So this shlok talks about anna is purna brahma, which is food is something which is enriching yourself, enriching the body and the soul. It is not just filling your stomach. And you're doing a yajna. What does a yajna mean? कि आपने your stomach is fire, so when we say the 5 elements, tap, jal, agni, vayu and all that, the stomach is related to the fire part of it. So whatever you put inside is burned, like a car engine burns the fuel and it provides you the energy to go ahead. Your stomach is burning that food which is going inside and providing that energy so when you say the shlok, you're saying कि आप एक यज्ञ कर रहे हो, you're doing a yajna, and when you every morsel of food that you eat, please treat it in that sacred fashion. Then whatever it may be, let it just be simple bread and butter, or let it just be dal rice, or let it just be modak, or let it just be a royal cuisine, from the palaces of Tanjore or Vadodara, or the Mughal palaces, or from Raja Shiva Chhatrapati's palace, the Raigad cuisine or the Rajgarh cuisine, whatsoever. So that is something which is very, very essential.
Wow. It was so beautiful to hear all these connections of food, how from our history to culture, and
Right.
I think all the scientific reasonings behind it,
Mm-hmm.
the geographical influences, and also we understand that food in tourism industry, it is going to help us economically as well to the local community.
Big time.
And
Yes, absolutely.
yes,
Uh,
yeah,
that is going to help them economically. I also want to request, if there are local communities here on this page, to please serve the food which is local to the region.
Absolutely.
Very, very
right,
important. People open up a restaurant, let's say in the coastal part of Maharashtra, and they don't serve coastal food, or they serve just simple thalis, which you also are available in Mumbai. Sell something else will people will not get, or sell something. I will tell you one example. So when I was in Singapore, you asked me about Singapore, and there is there are 120 outlets of a particular brand. Okay, so there are 120 outlets of a particular brand, and they sell just one item. It is a
right,
coffee bun. That coffee
yes.
bun was available in 2005 for $1.60. Okay, but that is what they sell, and that is what they specialize for. So
Right.
local cultures, when we develop, we should sell something. Let's not try to do everything that everyone should do. Let's also try about do that. What is something special that we should do?
Yeah, absolutely. That
No,
one
Dipti and
signature
Aniket, I
dish.
would really want to do a nice program. So probably when time permits all of us to do, we should have a nice cookery show for 1 hour, wherein we might just you might have something which is made from a local ingredient, and then that vocal for local will be very, very fascinating. Something which we haven't seen.
Wow.
We would love
Yeah,
to.
yeah, absolutely. And in fact, we can plan some wonderful tours to some destinations where you are actually telling us all this history,
Yes,
and
yes,
how, and we actually cook with
absolutely.
you with the locals, and that will be absolute fun for us as
It'll
well
be
as
wonderful.
everyone.
Yes,
It is.
true.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yes.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, I'm cutting you.
Yeah.
There's this thing. So, I was working with a tribe in central India called the Pardis. So, they're
Okay.
traditional hunters. They have been a nomadic community for the longest time.
Right.
So, they have these recipes. Okay. So, I'm sure you're aware of it, the lal chiti ki chutney. So,
Hmm.
they actually harvest those fire ants and they make a chutney out of
Yes.
it. And
Correct.
this time, last year,
Have you eaten it? Have you eaten
yes,
the
I
lal chiti
have.
ki
I
chutney? You
have.
tasted it?
Yeah, I'm a
Yeah, it is
vegetarian,
khatta.
but
No, but it
but
is
but
khatta, and
yeah,
they have the highest content of vitamin C in it, lal chiti.
exactly.
After amla, they say that lal chiti gives vitamin C. I don't want people, protection for animals running behind us. All of us saying कि आप लाल चीटे को खा रहे हो, but boss, something which is available locally. I'm sure they eat it for a reason.
Yeah. And again, I think it's very sustainable because the amount of harvesting, see, they do it for consumption, it's always
Hmm.
sustainable. When it becomes
Correct.
commercial, then it's a whole different issue with
True.
sustainability.
True.
When it's
True.
for
Yes.
sustenance, I think it's completely fair, whatever you put on the plate.
Right.
Personally, what I just wanted to bring out is this is something like a local experience that, I've been integrating with wildlife for myself. I take
Uh-huh.
people on wildlife tours and I make them
Right.
have this meal with the locals in the village, in their
Excellent.
way,
Right.
have it the most authentic way possible. And I try
Okay.
to give as little feedback as possible on how it should be done, on how you lay out the plates, how should you present it, this, that, everything.
Right. Right.
And
Correct. Correct.
I did this Bundelkhandi thali. This was the only suggestion I had given
Oh.
because we were in Bundelkhand in Panna.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Okay.
said, "Ki, why not do the Bundelkhandi thali?" And we
Right.
had something called the pyaz ki kheer. And
Ah.
everybody, so we had a guessing game.
Yes.
We are like, "Ki, write
Right.
down what do you think this kheer is made of?" And everybody came
Correct.
up with the list of ingredients. And at the end, we had this thing where, we said the special ingredient was pyaz. And everybody lost it saying, how can this be pyaz ki kheer? So I think
Absolutely
we were
fascinating.
Yeah.
So Bundelkhandi cuisine also has this connect of Peshwas because the Bundelas they were the
Yeah.
Sardars in with the Peshwa community, and of
True.
course Raja Chhatrasal was always there, and the Bundelkhand is known for their brave warriors or something. So imagine the amount of food there. But I'm really very happy, Aniket, that you're doing this fascinating stuff, because this is what ideally should be done. Like you spoke about pyaj ki kheer, there is lasun ki kheer also,
Yeah.
Yes,
Exactly.
absolutely.
which is cooked in Lucknow, and then there is ganne ka murabba, if you've heard of. So
True.
imagine making
True.
murabba out of sugarcane. Beautiful stuff, yeah. Never ever explode. And these recipes are now dying because people don't
True.
want to eat. No, I mean people want to eat, but because they are not being fed with the community or the experts who really want to make them are saying ki nahi abhi nahi banana hai, yaar. People are
Yeah.
not interested.
True. Very
So
true.
it gets, yeah.
I
I
think
think it is the
sorry.
same about how we want to promote the culture so that the locals will feel proud that there is someone who is admiring and respecting our
Yes,
culture, and it is our duty to protect it and promote it. And I think it same goes for the cuisine also. The
yes,
moment people start visiting them and demanding them ki यहाँ का ये local खाना है हमें,
correct,
then they
correct,
will feel that necessity that yeah, ये लोकल फूड हम लोग बनाएंगे और आपको सर्व करेंगे.
correct,
And at
correct.
the same time people will also start respecting that okay, these guys have the certain conditions where they use certain recipes and the techniques and the ingredients, and that is
Hmm.
how even it is like it will be a mutual benefit for everyone, to the
True.
communities, to our culture, and to the travelers as well.
Very essential, Deepti. It's a wonderful point, and that is what it is. Very so. People go to Northeast, and then you should be able to eat that kind of food. But when you travel to Goa,
Yes,
of course, everyone Goa wants people want to party, but you go to this. Don't go to shacks to eat. Go to those khana worlds which are there, which are serving that kind of food. Or when you're going to South, do that. Or like I spoke about Bejad ki roti in Rajasthan, it is extremely important. And at the same time, it is also very important that we educate the people whom we are taking to, because first of all, if we are not educated ourselves in terms of culture and cuisine, we will never be able to educate the people about what to eat
absolutely.
locally.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yes.
I think, Siddharth, we are now really hungry to go out and get something to grab. I think
Right.
we would love for to collaborate, and let's see if in the future we can do something and plan a tour with a cuisine angle to it,
Yes,
and
yes.
explore India in a way a chef would. I think that is what we want to see.
Fascinating.
How?
That
Yeah.
was we must do.
Yeah,
Sure.
absolutely. We'd love to do that. And I think looking forward, I think we are very happy that with this series of soulful conversations, we are building so many partners. For us,
Right.
it's
Correct.
a thing that, we were looking at, the market being stagnant. But I think with this
Hmm.
whole conversations, I think we have opened up so many avenues for business and so many
True.
journeys that
True.
we ourselves want to undertake, not just provide to our tourists, but also undertake ourselves. I think it was a wonderful conversation, and I'm so happy that there were so many things I could connect to when you were speaking, and I'm
Right.
sure all of our viewers also did. So
Absolutely.
thank you for taking out some precious time from your busy schedule and sharing with us. We would love to visit you at Shintrewadi, which is very close
Please
for
do.
all the people
Please.
living in Mumbai and Pune.
Yes.
Shintrewadi is Siddharth's resort or a nature resort, I would rather
Yeah.
say,
Nature.
very close to
Yes.
Alibag. So please reach out to Siddharth Shintre or just Google Shintrewadi. I'm sure you'll
Yes.
find the details. In case you have any issues, please reach out to me or Deepti, and one of us will put you in touch with Siddharth, and go and spend some time. It's time to unwind, have some great food. And I think on Saturday, we'll be doing another live session with another beautiful guest who we are happy to have on board. Thank you, everyone, for joining in.
Thank you,
Deepti,
Aniket. Thank you, Deepti. It was wonderful being on
Thank
this
you, Siddharth.
show, and thank you, everyone,
thank you.
for listening to me and bearing with me. Thank you.
Sure. Anything you would like
Thank
to
you,
add,
Siddharth.
Deepti?
Hello.
Yeah,
Yeah.
anything you would like to add?
So no, I would just again like to say thank you to Siddharth. I wish to hope to meet you soon at Chintrewadi. I'm
Sure.
his neighbor there. So I'm glad that I'll be visiting him very soon. And thank you once again for that wonderful insight about the food, about the culture, and everything. And it's really making not just hungry for food, but hungry to understand that whole concept and
Right.
the reasoning behind why we do all this
Right.
cuisine. So thank you once again. Thank you, Aniket. And guys, be safe. Keep watching our series. Do subscribe to our channels and meet you on Saturday with one of our guests. He's Girish Londe, and he will be taking you around, I think, across the world. And so stay tuned to listen to his stories. Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Bye
Thank you
bye.
so much once again.